This is the practical class for getting 100% marks in summarized written text. What is the weightage of summarized written text? It gives you 25 marks in writing and 21 marks in reading. So for these two reasons, summarized written text is an influential task in PTE academic examination. Whether you want a student visa score of 60 marks or you want a PR score of 85 marks, for both, it is an essential task. Now we will look at one question, understand its elements. Please see, let me read the instruction for you. Read the passage below and summarize it using one sentence. You are expected to read this passage and summarize it in just one sentence, and that one sentence cannot have more words than 75. So you can only write 75 words in that one single sentence, and there will be only one full stop. Type your response in the box at the bottom of the screen. So here is where you type your answer. You have a word counter also. You have 10 minutes to finish this task. You can see the timer. It shows 9 minutes right now. In the real test, the timer will appear on the top right-hand side. Even if you take a mock test in my site, you will be able to see the elements in the examination fashion, right? Okay. So your response will be judged on the quality of your answer. So your response will be judged on 4 criteria: content, vocabulary, grammar, and form. Let's learn this. In a nutshell, it is all about reading a passage and writing one sentence summary which does not exceed 75 words in 10 minutes time. That is it in a nutshell. So you require reading skills. You also require writing skills. That's why you get marks in both areas. 25 marks you get in writing, 21 marks you get in reading from both of the questions. In the real examination, you get 2 questions from this, which you already learned in the basics. 2 questions. Question number 1 has 10 minutes dedicated time. Question number 2 also has 10 minutes dedicated time. And you cannot transfer the saved time, the leftover time of first question to question number 2. It cannot be done. So one question, 10 minutes time you have. Take it, use it or leave it. This is the time distribution. We use a proven method, an exam tested method to answer summarized written text. That method is major 3 steps, but if you go micro level, there are 4 steps. Step 1 is selection. Step 1 is selection. Step 2 is collection. Step 3 is connection. Step 4 is correction. So selection, collection, connection, and correction. These are the 4 steps you will be implementing in order to answer it 100% accurately. To write a 100% correct answer, you need minimum 3 points, 3 crucial points from a passage, the question passage. Ideally, you need 4 crucial points from this passage. Now, from these, you need 4. So in these 4, getting 2 points is super duper easy. It's super duper easy. Let's talk how you can identify. So let us learn to identify these 2 points easily. The first point in these 2 points is topic point. The other point is conclusion. Topic point is there in the beginning of the passage. Whatever the sentence that starts the passage generally is the topic point. And the sentence that finishes, that ends the passage is the conclusion sentence. Right? Topic, first line, conclusion, last line. It sounds easy, but you have some kind of a confidence problem here. So let's do one thing. In this passage, let's read the first sentence and try to understand the topic. Recent research has identified neurons in the human brain that appear to specialize in processing singing, suggesting that distinct neural populations are responsible for interpreting different categories of sound. So this passage is all about the neurons in the human brain are specialized in processing, analyzing, singing, and other categories of sound. That's it, we understood. So if you wish to understand whether the conclusion is correct or not, let's look at the last sentence. These findings indicate that the brain may distinguish between vocal and instrumental sounds, and although such neural specialization could reflect an evolutionary adoption related to music, it might also develop through exposure and experience. So, such a quality is developed over a period of time with evolutionary adoption related to music, and it is developed based on the exposure and experience, these 2 things. So, we have clarity when we read the first line, last line. This is not enough. I'll take another question, and that also we will see if this topic and conclusion are valid or not. First sentence I said topic, last sentence I said conclusion. Trauma can affect individuals deeply, regardless of their resilience, emerging from diverse experiences such as public violence, emotional abuse, or prolonged childhood neglect. It's about trauma. It can affect the individuals that are even resilient. Okay, so it's about trauma. It can affect anybody. A strong person also can get affected by trauma. Conclusion. Overall, PTSD, we do not know. If we read stuff in between, we will know what is PTSD. Remember, it represents complex interaction between individual vulnerability and external stressors with consequences that can persist through the person's lifetime. So this PTSD complex interaction between what individual vulnerability, external stressors, individual vulnerability are the responsible for this, and the consequences of this particular thing can persist, can continue throughout the person's lifetime. So we have the conclusion. Similarly, in the practice portal, you pull out any question, you read the first line, you read the last line, you get the topic clearly, you get the conclusion clearly. So you don't have to look so much for the topic and conclusion. So they are very much available. We are in the selection steps. We are right now selecting the points. We already selected the topic point. We already selected the conclusion point. Now it's time to select the other one or two important points that are a bridge between. Topic is identified, conclusion is identified. We need to identify the in-between couple of points that are a bridge between topic and conclusion. Let's do it. For selecting other 2 points, what you have to do is you have to do something called skimming, for which you can use the mouse cursor. You go through the lines. Why are you going through these lines? You wanted to identify the important points of this remaining part from, say, line number 2 to last 2, from the last third line. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. From these 6 lines, you want to actually identify a couple of important points. For that, you have to go through the content little quickly. Neuroscientist Sam Narun and his team recorded brain activity from 15 epilepsy patients who already had electrodes implanted for their clinical treatment, allowed for more precise measurement than while person listen to 165 different sounds. So he had actually conducted experiments on 15 people. They have listened to 165 different sounds, speech, music, and animal calls, and environmental noises. The researchers found a cluster of neurons that responded almost exclusive to singing. Okay, it also proves the same thing, right? The topic only. What the topic says, identified that neurons in human brain that appear to specialize in processing singing. So singing is, the neurons have responded to singing exclusively. So the same research was written here. The outcome of the research is written here. We can include this part. Showing only minimal activation to speech or instrumental music. When this data was compared with fMRI scans from 30 individuals exposed to some auditory stimuli, the singing selective neurons were located between the regions of auditory cortex responsible for processing speech and instrumental music. So basically, they have done further experiments. What they found that there are neurons called singing selective neurons, which are responsible for processing speech and instrumental music. So one point I'll take this. What is it? There is a neuroscientist that conducted research on 15 people, found out that certain neurons in the brain are responsible for singing. Also, there are neurons called singing selective neurons that are processing the speech and instrumental music, that are responsible for processing speech and instrumental music. Now that I selected the points, I know the topic point, I know the conclusion point, I know in between 2 points. I have 4 points with me right now. Since the selection is complete, we will move ahead with what? Collection process. What is collection? The next step. Collection is nothing but typing those selected points in a short manner is what? Collection. In other words, typing the points in the writing area is collection. Now, we cannot type all the sentences ditto because the sentences are long many times, right? So we can cut short the sentences and write, because we have a word limit that you cannot exceed 75 words when you're writing the answer. So keeping that in mind, I will do the collection process. So a research, what it did, what the research did, identified neurons that are identified. Let's say neurons in brain, in human brain, process, specialized in processing, singing, and different categories of sound. So the first one is done. Now we took this point also. Neuroscientist Sam Norman something. So you don't have to name that scientist. If you wish to use, you can use, no problem. A neuroscientist and his team conducted. This is what you understood. It conducted experiments on 15 patients. Patients. Uh, Patients that were conducted experiment. Okay, we don't get into, because since you're writing summary, you don't get into so many specifications. 15 patients, right? What? Which demonstrated he conducted an experiments which demonstrated that these neurons in brain responded specially to singing. Right? We have written already 37 words. Probably we can cut them short towards the end. Then again, one more point we taken. Right. What is it? Singing selective neurons. Neurons responsible for processing speech and instrumental music. Right. Maybe singing selective hyphen is there. We can happily use hyphen because it is already there at the passage. Right. Okay. The last one. So it's a long one. These findings indicate the brain may distinguish between the brain may differentiate between vocal and instrumental sounds. Vocal and instrumental sounds. Okay. Due to what? Maybe evolutionary adoption experience and exposure, right? So it might also develop through. Okay, so fine, this is okay. Now we have 4 points. These 4 points have to be arranged into one single sentence. So these are 4 different things. In order to arrange them in the one sentence, right, we need connectors. All right. Now you see, if any 2 sentences, you could see four sentences on the screen. Right? If sentence 1, sentence 2, or any 2 sentences are in the same flow, these are the connectors we use. Moreover, furthermore, and also, maybe you can write in addition. These are the connectors for same flow. The sentence number 1 and sentence number 2, if they are going in the same flow, say related information is getting conveyed. Related information, same flow. Moreover, furthermore, and also in addition, these are the connectors you use. However, but if there is a contradiction between the first one and second one, what are the connectors you use? However, but, although, even though, in spite, despite, these are the things you will be using in your sentence just in case if there is any contradiction between any 2 sentences. At the same time, I mean, sometimes what happens in the passage, 2 events take place at one point of time, right? For example, I am writing notes while teaching my students. So I'm teaching my students, I'm writing my notes. So these 2 events are happening parallelly. So in such an occasion, you use what? While, meanwhile as connectors. All right. So this is very simple, straight, same flow, contradiction, 2 things happening parallelly, one with each other, same time. So you can use these things. Let's go back to the answer. So research identified neurons in human brain specialized in processing singing and different categories of sound. Okay. This is same flow. Therefore, moreover, a neuroscientist, okay, and his team conducted experiments on 15 patients which demonstrated, maybe you can try to prove, right? Or not necessary. I think we can connect it. But let's keep it simple. Moreover, okay, or in addition, whatever you can write, a neuroscientist and his team conducted experiments on 15 patients which demonstrated that that experiment that demonstrated that these neurons in brain responded specially to singing. That is the demonstration the experiment has done. So both are in the same flow, this one and this one. Therefore, we used moreover. All right. Now, after this we have to align or connect this sentence with this sentence. Now we will see the flow is same or not. Singing selective neurons responsible for speech and instrumental music. Okay, it is same flow. Therefore, I use what? Furthermore, singing selective neurons, single, the otherwise there's article missing. The single selective neuron, singing selective neurons were responsible for processing speech and instrumental music. Furthermore, like it is addition to what the discussion is already happening. Therefore, you use furthermore. And then the brain may differentiate. Ultimately, what is the brain may differentiate between vocal and instrumental sounds due to evolutionary adoption, experience, and exposure. Maybe also the brain may differentiate between vocal and instrumental sounds due to no, because and is that you repeated. I just wanted to avoid that and repetition. So therefore, I wrote what as well instrumental music due to evolutionary adoption, experience, and exposure. So this is the answer. Now, once the answer is done, you can proofread the answer. So proofread the answer. You can pause the video and proofread the answer. You want, you can add some point. You can add right, Sam. Right now, feedback. Let's go with feedback and the portal. So it is not only going to give us feedback just in terms of numbers, but also it is going to give you a neat thing like what could have been improved, what could have been done best. All of that can be shown here. So you are, first of all, forget about what score is received, all of that. Let's discuss the criteria. Content is one criteria, grammar, vocabulary, form. The content has 4-point rating. How do you get this 4 points rating in the real examination? By answering the question like I demonstrated. So 4 points, the AI and the human rater both will give you when your answer has topic. It was about what? Brain's neurons processing the singing and instrumental music. That's the topic, right? The topic is there in the answer. You want, you can go and cross check. Second, it should have a couple of important points, at least one complex point. 2 simple points or at least one complex point that conveys the matter. So in between what? 1 or 2. Ideally 2 important points should be there. That is there. So topic is there, couple of important points are there, and conclusion should be there. In our answer, conclusion is also present. So if you have to convince, impress the AI and also human rater, both, you have to write the content in the same fashion I said. Why after writing necessary 4 points, my content score is 3? Because it is because of weak grammar, weak vocabulary, and form is okay. So because of these two things. So these two, grammar and vocabulary, can impact, can affect the content score if they are not 100% correct. We will explore what problems are there in those two things. For now, what is the understanding? The content score can be down. The content assessment points can be down if there is a inferior grammar written, inferior vocabulary. So the grammars, what is it? So your answer, whatever you write, should be grammatically accurate. It should not have any tense errors, sentence formation errors, article errors, preposition errors. So every error, so for example, there is a sentence formation error. Okay, there is a subject verb problem in that. Maybe half point is reduced from your 2 points. Right? If there is a small error like an article is missing, probably the deduction will be 0.2 or 0.3 marks. However, for a major error, for any sentence formation error, it is going to be half point reduction in the content, 2 points. So please don't think the deduction is only in the grammar. It will be indirectly there in your content also, because an inferior grammar will drag down the score of content. This is an insight everybody should. So it is better to avoid grammar mistakes. And then if somebody does not have any grammar error, it is going to be 2. Probably the content score could have been better. All right. The third criteria is vocabulary. The selection of words when you're writing the answer is vocabulary. If all words are appropriate, all words are relevant to the topic, situationally correct, you get 2 points. If there is a problem, either in vocabulary selection, number 1, or if there are spelling errors in your answer, then the vocabulary score is going to get reduced. Please understand. So it's not necessary you have to write vocabulary errors. Even if you have spelling errors, those spelling errors will be reported as vocabulary errors, because in this task, there is no separate section for spelling. For both spelling and vocabulary, there is only one area, vocabulary. Since this is a genuine, spelling issue here. But this is not a spelling issue because I wrote the US spelling. It wrote what? The US spelling. So that's not a problem. All right. The next thing is form. What is form? Form is about two things. Number one, are you writing the answer under 75 words? Number one, demand to get 1 point in the form. Number two, demand. Demand number three is your answer written in one sentence or not? There should be one full stop. That's it. There is, if you are producing two sentences, the form score will be 0. Now, this answer is written in 70 words, right? The limit is what? 75. It is under the limit, number one. Number two, what is it? There is one full stop in the whole answer, right? So, therefore, it is form points are 1. Form point is 1. Form score is 1. Now, we shall analyze the answer. All these red things we have to highlighted things we can look at. A research. Research. No problem. Identified. It's not a problem. I think a research is okay. I think there is some space problem in my answer. That's why it is showing in the orange color. Identify neurons in human brain. Specialized. Specialized spelling is correct. Z is correct. S is correct. But in the portal, always UK spelling is correct. That's why it shows it's wrong answer. In the examination, any spelling is fine. Processing, singing, and blah, blah, blah. Then what we have spelling. Here one spelling problem. What is it? Responsible. Responsible spelling is wrong. What is it? N is missing here. So you may be thinking, how did you write it? So I was explaining you, I'm writing, the time was getting finished. Therefore, I did it. But if you are writing an answer, you make sure that you finish your writing in 8 minutes time. The balance 2 minutes you can utilize in verification of each and every word's spelling, verification of the answer. So you could, this could have been avoided. This could have been easily avoided. All right. And then what we have experience and exposure. See, exposure, expose, show something. Some spelling is wrong again. This could have been avoided by verification of the answer, which I did not have time because for the obviously mentioned reason. Now we will look at the most important thing. You are the only site, the first site to have AI, virtual AI feedback 24/7. Anytime you want a feedback, the system will give you feedback acting like a trainer. Let's see. Content feedback, let's read it. What is content feedback? The summary captures the main area of research on neurons specializing in singing and their distinction from other sounds. It is appreciating that it has captured the topic. It also mentions experimental setup and findings. We have done it. However, the explanation of singing selective neurons could be clearer. That's what it is recommending. Certain things are not done well. That's what it says. As it implies, they are responsible for processing speech and instrumental music, which is not entirely accurate as per the passage. Clarifying that these neurons respond differently to singing compared to speech and instrumental music could have enhanced. That's what it says. Look at this, guys. You're writing an answer. You're not just getting numbers like how many marks you get. That's it. It's not the case, right? You are getting a proper feedback that makes you improve your next answer, right? Your next answers can be improved substantially if you read this feedback and if you can really implement the feedback given to you. In no time you will improve. So the person who is only depending on the numbers, haha, my answer is superb, my answer is slightly less, next one I'll improve. What will you improve if you do not know? So micro level feedback is giving. This is for the people that are really smartly preparing. This feedback is helpful. Now, vocabulary feedback, let's see. Vocabulary generally appropriate, but there are some awkward phrases like such as a research identified. A research has identified could have been better. That's what it says. Evolutionary adoption should be evolutionary adaptation. It is, I think it's a wrong word selection. That's why the vocabulary score is down. See, every time you're writing an answer, you're getting what micro level feedback so that you are super duper exam ready. Consider using more precise terms to improve the clarity and professionalism. That's what it recommends. Now, the other one, grammar feedback. There are several grammatical issues, including subject verb agreement. A research should be what? Research. And spelling errors are there in the answer, responsible and responsible, these things. Pay attention to punctuation. For instance, the use of commas could be improved for better flow. This is what it says. Look at this. This is the kind of feedback you're getting. Now, so it says, final note, what is in good effort? You're getting closer to the exam level writing. Maintain one clear sentence and express the main idea concisely to raise your score quickly. So it is giving us one more piece of advice. So these advices, if we can implement in the next set of questions, definitely You shall improve. Now, after you going through the entire class, I don't have to tell you what are the common mistakes. The common mistakes are fundamentally spelling errors, which are like very expensive in summarized written text. Okay. The second type of errors are the grammar errors. Sometimes we miss words here and there. The arrangement of words is something that can go wrong. Thankfully, these two mistakes can be avoided in the answers. These two errors can be fixed in the answers if we can finish writing the answer in 8 minutes and remaining balance 2 minutes or 3 minutes. We can invest in the proofreading correction process. We will be able to do an excellent job. All right. So the maximum assessment points are 9. Okay, 9 are maximum assessment points for one perfect answer. So how to convert this into score for a 90, let's say. So if the 9, if you are getting 9 on 9, 9 out of 9, that means you are getting 12.5 marks in writing. And you are getting 10.5 marks in reading. If it is slightly lesser than 9, if it is, let's say, 6.5, you can proportionately calculate, right? If 9 is 12.5 in writing and 10.5 in reading, what is 6.5? Okay. So you can accordingly, proportionately calculate and get the score. All right. So this is the scope thing. The class cannot be complete if you do not know how many questions to practice, how many day per day you should practice. If you do not know all these things, the class is incomplete. Now let's look at the practice plan. You log into the practice portal. This is your dashboard. You go to material access. In the material access, you go to practice plans. It is a PDF which opens like this, and there's a speaking practice plan. This is writing practice plan. In the writing practice plan, what I'm recommending is 60 questions from summarized written text. 60, right? How to divide the 60 questions into days, like per day, how much? Simple. Target should be divided by number of days to examination. Let's say this target is 60 and you have imagined some 20 days to take Pearson PT exam. 60 divided by 20. So the outcome is what? 3. You have to practice 3 questions every day. One more example. If you have 30 days time, so 60 is the target, number of days available is 30. So daily you have to practice 2. Majority of the test takers only practice 3 or 4 questions before going to the examination. Just 3 or 4. Majority. I'm not talking about everybody. This is something we found out in our research on our practice portal and by interviewing the examination taking students. So you should not be belonging to that majority category. You should be the top 5%, 10%. If you have to become top 5% of the Pearson PT test takers, you have to implement the selection, selecting the points, collection, typing the points, connection, connecting the points with appropriate connectors, and then correction. Correction is the process of identifying and fixing the spelling, grammar, spacing, punctuation errors. Time management plays a big role in summarized written text. Perfection. Now let's look at the time management. You have total 10 minutes time to answer one question, and this time cannot be carried forward to next one. You have 10 minutes, use it or leave it here only. So 2 minutes time you can take for selecting the appropriate point. So in that, topic is easy, conclusion is easy, right? Only the other 1 or 2 points for selection you can invest some time. You have ample amount of time to select the points. So once you selected the points, for writing those points, you can invest what? Around 4 minutes. Now, the selection of, let's say, 4 points is done. Collection of same 4 points is done. Now, the connection of these 4 points with, let's say connectors like moreover, furthermore, like I have shown you here. So same flow connectors, different flow connectors we have, right? So using these things, you can carry out the connection part. You connect these 4 points and then you correct these 4 points. So total 10 minutes, 2 plus 4, 6, 6 plus 2, 8, 8 plus 2, 10 minutes. It's not exactly you have to stick to these timelines. Some people are little, what you call, slow in the beginning. Let's say they may take 3 minutes time for selection, but they may be typing and writing very fast. So you can accordingly you can adjust. Like in one area you are good, there you spend lesser time. In other area you're not so good, invest that time here. So you can, this is just a guess figure, Right? This is how somebody can do it, but you can always alter it to your, your preparation. How many days or weeks it takes to get comfortable at summarized written text? So if you are a decent user of English, your proficiency in English also matters. Therefore, if you're a decent user of English, you will take a week's time to get very much comfortable with summarized written text. However, I do not, although you get comfortable with summarized written text, you should not stop preparing. You keep preparing based on the preparation plan to see the improvement. My typing speed is not great. What to do? So the typing speed increases as you practice two, three questions daily. If your typing speed is not at all good, what you can do, you can practice typewriter lessons in the internet. They are free and available. Easily you can do it. I often write grammar errors in my answer. So grammar errors, you often write, many people write grammar errors because they are not active errors. You are capable of writing correct grammar, but because of the time crunch, you don't fix them. So 80% of your grammar errors will vanish if you can spend 2 to 3 minutes time on proofreading. The last step, right? Correction step. If you follow perfectly, you will be able to fix them. But if you have fundamental grammar problems, those people who are frequently going wrong with grammar, despite checking, you are proofreading, but still grammar errors are happening, you can work on these things. Let's say subject-verb agreement is common feedback from the AI. We have created 5-level exercise for subject-verb agreement. What you have to do is you have to simply start working on this thing. Each of students have a book. Each of the students blank a book, basically, I'm sorry. Have a book, has a book, are a book, is a book. Maybe each is what singular. So you select has and click feedback. So you're trying to improve grammar. It says each is singular. So verb should be also singular. Has is correct. Let's look at the next one. The dogs blank in the yard. The dogs is in the yard. Dogs is plural. Has are versus singular. Has is singular. Is singular. So you should choose are. So it says dogs is plural. So the verb should be plural, which is are. So like this is only stage one. I think the stage two has exercises, stage three has exercises. Every day, 15-20 minutes at least, if you can spend, you will definitely see improvement. And we are the only BT practice portal, as far as my knowledge is concerned, that is offering this crisp, easy to implement grammar polishing exercises. Make use of them. One more question that I keep getting. Should I write the same words which are present in the passage? See, you can write same words that are in the passage. Maybe 1 or 2 words you can change in the sentence. That's it. So even if you don't change, nothing big happens to your score. But those people who are expecting 100% score when you are writing, when you're choosing words, choose 1 or 2 words. I mean, use 1 or 2 words of your choice. For example, it says demonstrates. Say you can say shows, something like that, right? Something like that. Let's say discussion, let's say conversation, something like that, right? You can write maybe 1 or 2 words on your own. Those people who are trying to get 100% marks in writing and reading book, or you're looking at PR score, change few words. Not entirely changing words is not good because it takes effort, number one. Number two, it can be a little problematic for the machine to understand and the human to understand and evaluate and give you marks. Little risky and little time consuming. Therefore, I don't recommend. What is the ideal word count for summarized written text? Guys, there is no ideal word count because everybody has their own thing. Some people say you should write only 40 words. Some people say you should write only 50 words. You should write, say, 60 words. There is no such thing. In my understanding, see, as long as you're writing relevantly, you are writing all the topic, important points, conclusion elements nicely, grammar is perfect, vocabulary is perfect, form is in the perfect shape. You can get up to 70 words, no problem. There's no problem. But if you write above 70, if it is exceeding 75, there will be huge score loss. Although PT says there is minimal score loss, even if somebody writes more than 75, we have seen, I have experimented myself quite recently and got lesser score when I wrote purposefully more than 75 words. It's better to write up to 70. Beyond 70 is something which I do not recommend. One more question. Can I copy paste the sentences from the passage? Question passage. I'm sorry, you cannot copy paste the question sentences. Passage sentences here. There's not possibility. There's not a that's not a possibility. This cut copy paste buttons, these buttons basically they work. Okay. only inside this box. You can cut, you can paste, you can copy, you can paste. Just in case you want, you can use them. And word counter is always available to track and tell you how many words are you. What to do with long sentences? The passage has long sentences. Should I write such a long sentence? See, you can, if there is a long sentence, what you can do with the long sentence is that you identify what is subject, what is verb, what is object in that sentence. You make sure these three things are covered. So you are reducing the length of a sentence. For example, Virat Kohli plays for Royal Challengers Bengaluru, IPL franchisee. He has been playing there for so long, right? And he's one of the reputed players that franchisee has, and reputed. I think he's known for his run chase and all. So what is this basic stuff in that? Virat has been playing for RCB Bengaluru, and a reputed player, okay, and a run getter. He's a reputed player and a run getter. That's it. So you don't have to write the whole stuff. So short part. So that major thing is what Virat plays for RCB. It's a major thing, right? And known for his runs, is a popular cricketer, something like that. Whatever is there, the essence you pick up and you write enough. And if you do not have that capability of understanding the sentence and writing, if the sentence is too long, it is not just single sentence. By structure, there are 2, 3 small sentences in it. Okay. So therefore, what you can do, which part? The first part has more important information. You use the first part. Last part has more important information. You use last part. So such way you can reduce the word count, and you can manage the word count and summarize written text. Shall I write the answer in all capital letters? In the Pearson PT exam, any answer, not only this, if you write all capital letters, it is not eligible to get assist. So never ever write in all capital letters. Capital letters you write only in 2 scenarios. Number 1, the first letter when you're starting the answer has to be capital. And in between, if there is any noun, proper noun, not noun, proper noun, it's a name, something is a name, the name has to start with capital letter. For example, Sam is there. Sam is a name, S should be capital. San Francisco is there. S should be capital. F should be capital, something like that. South Africa is there. S and A both should be capital, something like that. Otherwise, there is no need to write a lot of capital letters. I have confusion with comma and spacing. How much space between the words and how to do it and all of that. So simple, I'll explain you. So let's say content marketing focuses on creating and let's say supplying or showcasing, distributing, supplying what? Valuable material to engage the, let's say, engage the relevant audience, right? Relevant. Okay, you're writing one more thing. Let's say one more thing. Unlike traditional marketing, which depends on paid advertising. Okay. Unlike traditional, which depends on paid ads, it does not require, let's assume just writing, does not require, it is, unlike digital marketing, it is, let's say, cost effective, right? So let's say you have these 2 points. What is the spacing and comma thing you can use? So there should be one space between every 2 words. One space. When you are adjoining, when you're connecting 2 sentences, they should be connected like this. You just backspace. No, there is no space between 2 sentences. Put a comma, space, and let's say one connector, space, like this you can use. So before comma, no space. After comma, 1 space. Before comma, no space. After comma, 1 space. So the words like and does not require a comma, right? They can be happily now can write. Let's say and is there's no comma necessary. Happily it goes like that. Now also is there. Before also no comma. After also 1 comma. Immediately then space. So please remember, before full stop, no space. After full stop, 1 space. Before comma, no space. After comma, 1 space. This is comma full stop thing. So first letter always has to start with capital letter. Unless and until there is a name, you don't use the capital letter. What happens when I take my summarized written text lightly? So it is very simple. It has 25 marks weightage, 2 questions together. It has 25 marks in writing, and it has around 21 marks weightage in reading. So both suffer. Today, if anyone is not getting good marks in writing and reading, one of the reasons why they are not getting required marks in writing and reading is this this task. Some students are implementing it perfectly, but leaving behind spelling errors and grammar errors. Some people are writing perfect spelling, perfect grammar, perfect everything, but the implementation is not correct. In the sense, they are not writing sufficient answer, relevant answer, something like that. These are the reasons. See, thousands of PTE practice questions. Like essays, we have 101 essays we are adding based on our exam experiences. Look at this, it has grammar. For example, you are lacking in subject verb agreement. You can go and work on what 5 levels of subject verb agreement exercises. Nobody is lecturing you on grammar. You are simply learning based on the activities. Now, for improving vocabulary, we have vocabulary improvement section and listening spelling section. So if you want to improve the exam familiarity, we have 10 mock tests coming here. Each mock test, when you write, gives you score. It gives you insights where you're doing well, where you're not doing well, all that stuff. And you can even access your answers once you finish the exam. So all the materials, like the latest guides, templates, everything is mentioned here. And the entire course recording is available. Latest class recording is available, including my real exam experiences. So, right, all the basics. Now, this is my real exam experience, the exam that I took on January 26th, January 30, 2026 or something. So, everything, it's a complete package. Don't hesitate to buy this. The subscription is starting from just, I think, 1,500 rupees in Indian currency for a week's subscription. So, every feature is going to come in the 1 week subscription plan. I'll meet you with the new essay sample question and answer. Stay tuned. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't. If you find value in my channel, please do subscribe.